to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company Window Works from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. If you are a regular listener of the show, then you have probably heard a few conversations at the very least about how important it is to pay attention to the industry and to the marketplace and to notice gaps and to take advantage of those gaps and see if you can turn it into an opportunity. Right? This is exactly what my guest today has done in more than one capacity, by the way. My friend Jessica Duce is with us. Jessica was originally on the podcast episode 368, and in that episode, she talked about her journey into vacation rental design. Since she was on the show, she's been quite a busy lady. She continues to run her residential design firm, JDuce Design, but not long after her first appearance on the show, she started a second company with business partner Julia Harmon. It's called Vacation Rental Design. Together, they bring value to short-term rental property owners who require a unique mix of budget and modern style. They also create new opportunities for designer colleagues as well as owners in the vacation rental space. Now, Jessica has appeared on numerous podcasts and panels before. She has been featured in community lifestyle publications as well as our trade publications, including Business of Home, Furniture Today, Designers Today, and KBIS Magazine. Most recently, she announced a third business venture. Her role as key strategist in the inaugural, I always have a hard time with that word, I'm just going to tell you, Vacation Rental Design Summit, which was held this past spring, April 2023, in conjunction with High Point Market. So there's a lot to cover here, and I'm very excited to welcome Jessica back to the show. Hey, Jess, thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business today.
Hello. I'm glad to be here.
Well, I have to just say, I'm like just a tiny bit tired because we've spent, an hour and a half talking before.
That's what we do.
It's like, oh, okay, maybe we should record something for everybody else to hear. Anyway, okay, so here's the thing. First, you were on the show. We said it in the show notes. You are a vacation rental design expert, and you leaned into this. And you have to go back and listen to that episode because it's really a great episode and a great story of your journey. But now you've taken it to a new level. This past, we're going to say spring of 2023, you were the idea generator of, and smart enough to get other smart ladies involved with you. You started what do we call it? Is it the Vacation Rental Designers Summit? Is that the official name? I'm sorry, I should have looked it up first.
Vacation Rental Design Summit. Yes.
Design Summit, right?
Yes.
And so lots of buzz, looked very exciting. You had almost 300 designers show up for it. So super successful, obviously needed in our industry. But I'm interested in, why did you do that? Why organize a summit? You're a busy, successful interior designer. You've got, I just saw that one of your daughter, I think it was, that got married a couple of months ago. Like, you have things to do. You're not exactly like, feet up, nothing to do. So what was the why, Jess? Why did you want to do that?
Can I just say her wedding was at our house 2 weeks after the summit? So yeah, we had a lot going on.
See, I knew it was around that timing. I knew, and it was gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was crazy, but it was Beautiful.
Was.
Why did we need the summit? Why did I pitch the summit? I actually started off
Yes.
first because I was looking for what I wanted. I wanted a conference or event or summit that was just for vacation rental design, because I felt that there was this missing communication between what I needed as a vacation rental designer and what I could find with brands and with product and with accessibility. And I couldn't find it. And it was frustrating. And I have a soft spot for High Point, and I felt like that was the right place because everything that I really could source for a vacation rental or short-term rental is in High Point. So it seems like a great place to have it, and nobody is having one. So I pitched it because I needed these companies, these brands, to take notice of this vacation rental category, this design category that is just going gangbusters. And I have this coffee chat button on my website, and a client can book me for $100 for 30 minutes, pick my brain. And it's a good way to just for us to decide if, we're a good fit together, or maybe they just have a couple of questions and we both get something from it. And I kept getting designers booking this coffee chat button, and they're asking me about my vacation rental design business. So I knew that other people were struggling too. So I went for it.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Well, I love this, okay? Because here's the thing about this. Robin Barron was on the show eons ago talking about, hey, do you want to have a licensing deal, yada, yada. And one of the first things that she said was, is there a gap in the marketplace for what you want to bring to market? And that's the same thing with what you did. And I also love, so first of all, as an interior designer, you've got a gap. I've seen you at market a half a dozen times. We always run into each other, make time to have some time together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I never realized that you're there walking around and like, yes, at the parties, you're having a good time, right? But that your work time at High Point was frustrating. It sounds like your work time at High Point was frustrating, that it was like, where are the people here that have the product category that I need? Because it is different designed for vacation rentals than it is for primary and even vacation homes, second and third homes. It's different, right? Jess, you talked a lot about that on the first podcast episode that you were on, the technical differences in it, right?
A lot of differences. Yes. And sometimes people will say, okay, so it's like staging. No, when you're staging, you don't care where the bathrobe's going to hang up or how much room you've left for the suitcases to dump in the entryway. And actually in vacation rental design, we need to make it look styled, but people typically come in and put their crap all over the kitchen counters because why are you going to put all your snacks away? You're going to eat them all week long. The kids are going to grab them. So you need your counters free. So those aren't styled like staging. But then on the other side of that, and we've talked about this, performance fabric, we all know those basic ideas for, vacation rental design. But the example I kept trying to use for brands, and logistics is a whole nother conversation because that's a big deal for us. But as a residential designer, I'm sourcing this, let's say a beautiful sofa that I want for my residential client. And I'm going to spend a lot of time, and it's going to be the right fabric and the right design and this great thing. And it's going to hopefully last the customer, a good 5 to 10 years, right? And I'm not going to redesign that client's living room for a while. But as a vacation rental designer, I need a good frame and I need a good fabric. And I'm going to come to you for that again, at least 3 to 4 times in 10 years. So as a designer, as a client to that brand, I should be a little more interesting to you on some level, or at least gain some more attention from you if I'm going to buy 4 sofas from you in 10 years as opposed to 1. I'm not saying that residential design is less important. I'm just saying you need to work with us because we are a strong buyer.
Right. And what you mean by that, just so I'm clear, because I just make sure a lot of times with the designy speak that I make sure I get the right information. So what you're saying is not because you're going to design necessarily more homes in that period of time, but your individual client that has a single vacation home for rent will need that sofa replaced likely 3 times in 10 years, as opposed to a regular residential consumer who their sofa you can expect to last 10 years.
Yes. Yes. So, like, for
Yes. Yeah.
example,
So I just want to make sure I'm reading it right.
the story I told on our first podcast together about Big Blue, which
Yeah.
I just flew
Yeah.
back from last week on my 3rd or 4th refresh. And we are on our 4th sofa set in the living room. And it's a
Wow.
beautiful property. It's always booked. They yield a great income from that property. And it's not because they have crazy guests there doing things. Well, that happens too, but no, it's because it's wear and tear. And so we bought another beautiful set of sofas. So
tell me a little bit about that from a technical standpoint. I actually don't get it. So, in other words, are you sourcing a value-driven price sofa, and that's why it's not lasting as long? Because at that point, it would almost be like, well, why not? So, or is it not like, because look, if I have a house and I live in it 7 days a week, is it just that people living in someone else's home will tend to flop on the sofa rather than sit on the sofa? Like, what is it that makes it? It's still people in a house. There's still 365 days a year. It's not, we're not just renting to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a little lost on why does it run out faster? Why does it wear out faster?
Well, this house is different. Like, we have a home in Green Bay, Wisconsin that gets a lot of activity, but we don't have to change the sofas like this. So this is on a beach, 11 steps to the sand, private beach. So, like it or not, they are tracking that stuff in. And that's part of the luxury of having that. So that wears it out. It also is a home that technically has 3 living rooms. So we actually take the sofas and kind of move them around. So the primary living, the money shot, the fancier room, as that wears out, we transition it to another space, bring in a nicer set. So it's kind of like this constant movement.
Got it. Okay. So there's a lot of other things that are going into that decision. It's marketing. It's like, like you said, the money shot and all the things. And I'm sure at some level, if a lot of people find a home that they love to rent and they go year after year, and they're not going to keep coming if they don't feel like the home is being updated. They can stay in their own old house if they want to.
Right.
Like, when you go on vacation, you want to stay in something that feels as good or better than what you are living in, right?
You just nailed it. And that is one of the biggest changes I've seen just in the short time I've been doing vacation rental design, or 10 years or whatever it's been. But you said it, like, people want to stay somewhere that doesn't look like their home. So that's been kind of the misinformation for owners. Part of our owner education is your sofa does not have to look ratty and falling apart for you to know to change it. It's part of you staying relevant and this luxury experience, or what your responsibility is as a owner for this guest experience. Because luxury, that word luxury that's so useless, like loosely thrown out there, is so many different levels. And that doesn't mean that you are sitting on a fur sofa. That could also mean that you are just an appointed home with a clean, nice living situation. But you still have to be responsible.
Yeah. So thank you, because I, was a little lost in there, but that makes complete sense to me. And to that point, now that I have that clarity, you're 100% right. Like, why aren't you paying attention to me, Mr. and Mrs. Brand at High Point? I am, I'm literally a huge potentially buying power. And of course, to your point of gathering the summit together and gathering other vacation rental designers and aspiring vacation rental designers, is to create a voice that says, hello, 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 stand up, we're here, right?
Right. We're booming. We're all over the place. And yeah.
Okay. So you did have the summit. So you have it now. You had it the first time in 2023 in spring. we're letting the cat out of the bag that you're planning to do it again in spring of 2024. And, let's look, there's a lot of things that can change. This is very early in the timing and the planning and all the things. But as we're talking in the beginning of summer 2023, you're planning to have it next year. You're planning to own that 2 or 3 days before market. So just put your calendars out that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday before market. And tell me, what did you do at Summit? Like, why, either if I'm a vacation rental designer existing or aspiring to niche into this, what did you do over the couple of days that you had the summit that I need to know about?
Okay, well, first I have to say, technically, I'm supposed to say we hope to have it in the spring, and check your emails and the website. So,
oh, okay. Here I'm writing it in ink.
So your question was, what did we do for the summit? I got all thrown off there. You threw me off with the cat.
Yeah, give me some FOMO. Like, what did I miss? What was so fun and so great, and the learning lessons? And,
Jane, so much credit goes to this very hardworking team with Jane Dagme leading us, with HPXD and Erica Surratt, Serena Martin. But we really wanted it to be an experience for the people that attended. So when they came in Wednesday night, we met at Pandora's Manor, and Eastern Accents, a sponsor, gave us, and Louise, gave us an amazing evening cocktail appetizer reception. And was our first opportunity for people to meet and greet. And people came from all over the country. And, we had all ranges of design experience, and the speakers came, and, Barclay was there, and all, to the newbies. Wow. And so that was a great way to kick it off. And you love that. You have to love that place.
Oh, awesome.
And then Thursday we were at Congdon Yards.
I love Pandora's Manor.
And you've had great events there. And then Thursday, I don't know if you've ever been to Congdon Yards, but Congdon Yards is a really cool place in High Point. And it's on English, and across from Splashworks. And they, Barbara Spangle and her team have done an incredible job doing the design work in Congdon Yards. It's absolutely stunning. So we had our summit there, and we had an education area and a vendor area. And we had programming and food and the vendor opportunities for people to talk with them, kind of like a really micro version of Design Edge, in that, you had your speakers and a lot of panels and education. And then when you had breaks, you had the brands there to talk to you. And they were so excited to talk to you and literally say, here are my linens and my linen company and how I can support you. And, this is, big ass fans. And this is how we target just specifically to you. So you got to love that. And,
yes.
And then that was all day Thursday. Then we had a party Thursday night at Coderas, and they were wonderful. And again, people mingled and learned more brands. And Friday we did programming again at Congdon Yards. And then Friday afternoon we did tours, and they were sponsors and some brands that were all identified specifically for vacation rental design friendly. And we all spread out and took them around.
I love it. I love it. And you had a great time, right?
We did. It was wonderful. We had great feedback. People felt that it was an intimate experience. And to me, that's the biggest compliment. I mean, they didn't feel lost in the crowd. They felt like they could really network and talk with people.
I love it. And it's funny because that reminds me, there were two learning points that I wanted to bring out when you first answered the question, why? The one was that you saw a gap. And then the other thing was noticing that your chat kept being filled out and the appointments requested by colleagues rather than necessarily vacation rental owners. And these are the things in our business that if we're moving too fast and not analyzing and not paying attention to what's happening around us and in our business, you move, like, in other words, you could imagine somebody saying to themselves, this is ridiculous. Like, every single time I see another appointment book for $100, it's another designer. It's not somebody who wants me to design their vacation home. And there is that argument to be made that, yeah, okay, so that $100 isn't going to turn into a $50, $60, $80,000 thing. But to finally go, oh, wait a minute. This isn't just one designer. This is lots of designers. There's something happening here, and there's an idea that needs to be taken care of and addressed. So I love that you did that, Jess. I love that you did that.
Thank you. It's
yeah.
We crave that community.
Yeah. So interesting. So I want to go to, I don't want to lose that thought, but I just want to tie this vacation rental summit up, design summit up. So all of the content is geared at, so I guess what I'm understanding is, if I'm considering it for next year, because we already said you're doing it next year. Right?
You got me in trouble
if I'm
today.
considering if I'm considering coming to the conference next year, I know how you operate. I know your heart. I know that you're an inclusive lady, and I know that you are the kind of person that wants everybody involved to have a good experience. But from a business standpoint, if I have never done a vacation rental ever once, am I going to come and feel like, oh, this is for seasoned vacation rental designers? Or is there content for both, for somebody that's like yourself that has 10 years experience, but then also somebody who's like, should I get into this? Like, how did you address that throughout the conference? Like, different levels of information? How did you do that?
Yes, absolutely. We learned a lot from doing this summit this first time, and we had both sides of the coin. We had the newbies, and we had some seasoned and speakers, and we had speakers all the way from, one of my favorite speakers was actually somebody that taught us how to really create rentals that help with accessibility for handicap or aging in place, and some different things that I had never thought about, and I loved it. So what we have taken from that and from a survey is that we're going to stay the course, in that we make sure our programming is good for seasoned designers and newbies. But we also found, again, looking for those gaps, is that a lot of designers see this as an opportunity to invest, create their own portfolio, and have a business and their design business out of it. So, and what better way not to? Like, you are buying a property, like Ginger in Dallas, Urbanology. She bought a beautiful property that she made beautiful, and it's part of her brand. And it's an Airbnb, but she can market it, shows her talents. People can shop it. I mean, it's a business in itself, and it's part of her. That's a whole nother animal. And brands are taking notice. So there is a lot of conversation to have that is good for seasoned and newbies, plus a lot of the takeaways that we learned of what people want to hear about how to improve their business, whether they're newbie or seasoned.
Right.
Does that help?
So, yes. And so just so I clarify, what you're talking about, Ginger, is that a lot of designers will get their start or just improve their portfolio by doing their own home. And what you're saying is it's a spin on that. It is her own home, but it's her own home that she rents out. And so she's advertising that she's a vacation rental designer. She's advertising her chops and her design, aesthetic by doing it. And it also is creating income because she does rent it out. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
And then on top of that, now brands are taking notice, and and I'm actually working on a project like this, where brands want to be a part of a rental, Airbnb, VRBO, so that guests or designers that they bring in can experience these brands and have that experience at your rental. And instead of sending you maybe to a show house, some of these getaways that we have, where maybe you go to the MTI Bath show house or the Kohler experience, things like that. We're starting to see those, but they're happening in our vacation rentals.
Wow. Wow. Very cool. Very cool. That's nice. I love that. Okay. So we had, a nice time. We learned a lot of things. It was good for seasoned and newbie. And when you talk about community, I realized, you and Elizabeth Scruggs also, are you still doing your High Point tours? Like, is that a thing? Like, really, like, how busy are you at High Point?
uh, I will do the tour with Elizabeth as long as she wants to do the tour because I adore Elizabeth Scruggs.
Yeah.
So she's wonderful.
I know.
And our
She's a love.
tour sounds like we're an old country band, so you have to want to be on our tour. JDuce and Scruggs, like we think we sound like a country band. We have a ball. We love it. She has been my market buddy for years. So yes. I think High Point is doing tours on Fridays too. We might do that, but I wanted to say one thing though of what you just said when you were talking about my why, and I left this out because part of my why, honestly, is I felt like as you said, I'm community driven, Design Hounds, all those, we have all of our communities that we love.
Yes.
I didn't have my tribe, my vacation rental design tribe. And
Wow.
I felt like we could have a community too, if we could do this. And we did, we created a community. So that's pretty cool.
I love it. I love it. You're right. Because you know what? Like when you're on the Design Hounds with Veronica Miller and all the, the different trips, you're like a minority as far as your niche is concerned on that. So you're getting along and you're all the things, but who are you talking about business with? The actual nichey nudgy things about vacation rental design. So to that point, I forgot to mention, you did start a membership program from the summit. Is that right?
Yes, as we were building the summit platform, talking with our panelists, building all of our education, I just kept seeing more and more of a calling. And so we kind of pulled it together quickly and we launched it with the summit because my other company, I have JDuce Design. I still do residential. My other company, Vacation Rental Designers, I actually brought on 2 partners. And one is a successful owner, several properties, and one is a real estate agent and property manager. So we all 3 wear different hats, stay in our lanes.
Nice.
I don't want to do what they do. They don't want to do what I do. And with that, we have 3 avenues of coaching that we can provide. And so that is what our vacation rental design membership offers these designers that we launched it at the summit and we got a great response. We're honored and they, we're all growing together, but we have a monthly Q&A and our last Q&A was our owner, the owner in the company who's also a seasoned owner. And she was actually breaking down the real math of what she looks at for her revenue streams and how she works the math of using design and how much she puts away, how she would talk to a designer about her math, how she would do the calculations, what she'd want to hear from a designer for profitability, for her to want to give them the job. So she went that direction. And then we have a design module. We'll all go through my entire process. And we've been getting some sponsors. And Host GPO just came on as a sponsor for us and gave all of our members a free membership. And we have some other ones that we're going to be announcing soon too. So we want to really create this community and tribe and grow and help them and help brands recognize that we need some help. And we're out there to help everybody make money and have beautiful homes because there's a lot of ugly homes we have to fix.
It's so true. I mean, this is nice. I mean, when you think about, you've got this homeowner who is, I love that you said it's true, a seasoned homeowner, not like, hey, just take my house, put it up for rent. Like I have no idea what I'm doing. She runs it like a business and she approaches her rental home as a business and it's a high-end luxury home, it sounds like. So it means something to her, and having her perspective on it, it's kind of like anytime we do a podcast episode with a builder, with Brad Levitt on the podcast. And
that was a good one.
What do you want us to do? What do you want want us to ask? What do you want us, like, what should we do to work with you? Right? It's like you want to know the things that matter to the person who is your target client. And here you are putting the version of their target client in front of them. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you.
And then the other partner in that business, did you say was a realtor or a property developer? What was that partner?
Her name's Julia, and she is a real estate agent and she's a property manager. And we actually have a property under our vacation rental designer umbrella that she is a property manager for. And it's kind of beta that we're, so when we say that we have property manager experience, we really do. She's been doing it for 2 years now, and we've been approached to manage other properties, but we just don't have the bandwidth to do that right now. But we have a property that we just signed with, and it's 12 acres in Wimberley, Texas, and they have handed over the entire project to us, and we're doing owner coaching, property management, and we're doing a complete redesign of the property and the house. So we really will be able to have an example for our membership of every angle of a makeover project that, to share that knowledge with our people. I'm excited about that.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And so what you're saying with that is, once you've designed the place and it's up and running, you've been retained to continue to be the property manager for that place.
Yes.
Is what you're saying.
So we're either going to actually manage it for them. We're still, working on the details of it, because this is going to be a good year that this this property is off the market while we do all the work we need to do. We're either going to manage it or consult with the property management. And we got some time to figure it out, but we're talking with brands and all kinds of stuff. I mean, we're throwing out words and
So I love that, because that perspective also is as valuable, because sometimes if I recall, well, first of all, if I recall from your first interview, I feel like you said sometimes the inquiry to design the home comes from the homeowner, but sometimes it comes from the property manager. Sometimes the property manager is doing it. So understanding what they're looking for in a designer and a design firm is also important. Do I remember that correctly?
Yes. And I originally was hired by the homeowner, but a lot of my work has come from property managers, and I've coached designers in make friends with the property managers, and I've really seen a shift in that. There's not as many homeowners privately managing their own rentals anymore. Yeah.
Well, I mean, honestly, we're not talking about like a beach house on the Jersey Shore, for crying out loud. You're talking about, like you said, 12 acres in Texas. So the house is probably 10 or 12,000 square feet, whatever it is. Right. And it's like, that's a big thing. You don't just manage that between running whatever company you're running. That's crazy. Right.
Right. And it has 2 houses on this property. It's going to be fun. I think a lazy river should connect the two.
Gosh.
I'm just throwing that out there.
You know what that reminded me of? Were you at, was it the Cabus in Vegas where they had the underground tunnel for the electric cars?
Yep, we did.
Wasn't that amazing?
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that was amazing. Oh yeah, that was like, this is the way to go. I'm like, we need some of these in New York. So well run. That was the thing about it. So well
and we
run,
remember
right?
it.
So yeah. That's right. So a lazy tunnel, a lazy river between it is also memorable. I agree. You need that.
Dream.
Now what you got to go is you got to go hire the amusement park, project developers and managers to like lay out a lazy river for you and excavate the property to do it.
I'm going to dream big. We're going to see.
That's it. Gosh, that would be fun. Kind of fun though, wouldn't it? People floating between the 2 houses with their beers and their coolers.
Right. You could say like, I'll see you in a few. I'm going to float on over. Like, how often do you get to say that?
Exactly. Oh my goodness. All right. So your membership community. So you're meeting monthly by Zoom. I know you're building it. It's literally 2 months old, for crying out loud. You know what I'm saying? But this is the thing. You're putting expert speakers in front of them, expert resources in front of your members, and you're, as you also said, just building the community of designers that have the same challenges within the design community. The niche of vacation rental by design is vacation rental design. It's everybody really has to go back and listen to Jess's first episode, because it really did lay out some of the the differences. Like you said, it's not staging, it's not residential design, it's different. But as consumers of it, whether you're your end consumer, the person that's hired you, or the consumer that's coming to rent there, we don't want to feel like it doesn't feel like home. We want it to feel like an elevated luxury experience, but you've got to make it so that it stands up for all the things, right?
It's like it has to be approachable, easy to manage and navigate. It can't be overly complicated with luxury appliances that you have to read a manual for, but yet you want to feel like it's different from your house and special and unique, and it was worth you renting. And I've seen a lot of changes just since I first started doing vacation rental design, because in the time you and I first talked to today, the market got saturated and it went a little crazy. And they're starting to weed those out. And what's getting weeded out are the fugly ones. And I'm seeing the importance of design more than ever. And I told an owner the other day, I said, because they called me about what they should do, because there's a lot of rentals in their area and they wanted to increase their rates. And they all kind of look alike in this area. And I said, well, honestly, if you all look alike, you all kind of have the same view and, same kind of street experience, then your only competitive edge is your design. So that's where we're going to give you your wow. That is literally the only edge that you have. And once we do that, then your rent, it's just simple math. You will look better than all the other ones because that is your edge. And so I think the importance of what we're doing is even more important now.
Yeah. And the thing is, the ROI for that homeowner, that person that owns that property, it might be that everybody on the block is renting for $10,000 that week, and that homeowner can ask for $11,500, right? So, but it's $11,500 times the weeks of the year that they rent. If they rent 20 weeks or 30 weeks or whatever it is. So, and the thing is, I guess what I'm hearing and seeing and visualizing myself is, if I'm looking on a website, and like you said, all the houses are very similar. The views are similar. The street experience, the amenities in the area, it's all similar. If I'm looking and one just feels like, oh my goodness, yeah, I'm spending $10,000. I'm not going to spend $11,500, right? Like that's the thing. Now, if they're all the same, to your point, okay, then if yours is 11,500 and yours is 10 and yours is 9,500, well, I might as well do the 9,500 one. I'm not opposed to saving money. You know what I'm saying? But once you go, it's anything luxury. Once you go into a luxury purchase as a consumer, you're in a price category, not a dollar set amount. You're in a price category, and you will move up and down based on the perceived value of what you're actually buying or renting.
Right.
And that's what you're talking about, right, Jess?
Right. And we are basically selling a perception, to be honest, because when you're looking for your rental, we call it stop the scroll. So, people are searching, and what image do you have that is going to stop that scroll? And to your point, whether it's an extra $500 or $1,000 or whatever, if you've stopped the scroll and they have perceived that they're going to have a better experience there, it doesn't matter if you're $1,000 more.
Right. Exactly. It really doesn't. Like if the place cost $1,000 to rent and you're $1,000 more, different story. But once you're 10, 15,000 for the week, like what do we, it just doesn't matter. It really doesn't. So, and I love and I appreciate that there is a skill and an expertise in your company, so tell me a little bit about the evolution of your company since we interviewed the last time, because I love the skill and the expertise of what you bring to vacation rental design and the way that you identify. It isn't the same as residential, and it isn't the same as staging. So talk to us about where your company is now versus the first interview, and what are you got? What's in your world now, Jess?
What's in my world? Well, I still have JDuce Design and doing residential. And honestly, not long after I was on the podcast with you, I created my second company, Vacation Rental Designers. And it was a way for me to really separate my two different business clients, just vacation rental design clients, just residential clients. And they were doing well. I was barely keeping my head above water. I could listen to all of your podcasts and get all of the coaching, and I need to take more and more advice, thinking I could do it all by myself. And one day I just realized I couldn't. And the first partner I met, Julia, she was actually a client of mine for residential. And I saw she's a great realtor, and she has a lot of property manager experience. And she was asking me a lot about my vacation rental design company. And long story short, she ended up buying in. And then one of the owners I have worked for, who has many properties, she ended up asking me about my vacation rental design business, and she asked to buy in. And it just was one of those things where it lined up really well, because we all have different hats, and those are the three things you need. And I was completely overwhelmed, and I don't want to do what they do. So that's perfect.
Right.
And I've listened to enough of the podcasts with all of your different guests to know that I need to stay in my lane. So we got lucky. And we're
so you run this company now. And so what happens is obviously there's referral generation, there's, owners that you satisfy, and then of course you keep their business long term. But then these two people have a network of people that brings in, the one woman probably brings in other owners that she's met through her dealings with it and the thing, but they are partners with your design business, but they're not in it. Like, what are they doing? Like, when you say they're in their lane, other than feeding it business, what are they doing? Are they doing anything in the actual projects, or?
Actually, yes. Well, like Julia, we have a network set up where if somebody's looking for a vacation rental project or property to buy in another state, she can refer you to an agent in a state, or help you coordinate or answer questions and coach on that. And she has helped some people here in Texas buy property for vacation rental. So she has that leg. Plus, she is also managing a property that we have under our umbrella. And she does consulting.
That goes back to that big property.
And then,
okay, now I get it. You're able to offer that service within your umbrella. Got it.
And then our owner,
got it.
Yeah. Well, and the owner, she actually coaches other owners, and she helps. Like, when I have a new client that needs design help, I can suggest to them, I see, you're trying to get to this target number. We also offer this service with coaching, da, 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 da. So it can feed on to her. And
interesting.
We have a little, kind of, I don't want to say email, but a PDF that we send to them that shares what services we provide if they want the different coaching opportunities. And coaching is such
Interesting.
I don't like using the word coaching, because I don't mean to use that so loosely, but we have information that we want to share with them, and it helps their business grow. So it's not that they're hiring us for these long-term coaching. It may just be a consultation or an appointment, and the appointment may be
what I was
thinking.
Consultating.
Yeah. So
that's what I was thinking. It's like, when you work with our firm for design of your vacation rental, we also have consulting that you can get from a property developer or from a seasoned business owner. I mean, a vacation rental owner, where they can share your perspective on why the investment is good and how to expect to, how to calculate that investment and ROI and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like, it's just like anything. It's like, if you go, it's like the lawyer's got his paralegal. And like when you go, like, it's just like there's different services available at the one-stop shop that you're going to. And you, in your experience, have learned that these are three critical areas for a vacation rental owner to be successful in vacation rental owning, right?
Right. And eventually, we
Yeah.
hope to
Yeah.
be able to eventually have like product on our site, and our property managers and our owners can buy all the bedding directly through us. We're working on that. And, like you said, one-stop shop. But
Wow.
we're helping our designers get connected with that. Yeah,
Wow. Wow. That's big plans. Wow.
growing it.
That's awesome. That's big plans. Wow. Good for you. Good for you. Now, your kids are both out of college or high school now. Where are your kids at? How old are they? One's in a service, right?
My oldest, my son, almost 30, graduated from Seton Hall in New Jersey. And
Oh, Jersey, right down the road
yeah,
here.
he is an Army Ranger. So he's doing his
I
Army
knew he was
thing.
something fabulous.
He's fabulous. And
Okay.
okay, I have to tell you, I don't know how I made these children, but my middle child, my daughter, is getting her PhD in nuclear physics at Georgia Tech. And I literally have to focus when I write the word
What?
physics. I'm like, PH. Yeah, I don't know what she
Right.
does.
This is SCCI.
I'll tell people what she does, and the second question every single time is, "Oh, what does your husband do?" So apparently, a designer cannot generate that. And my youngest is a analyst, a data analyst, graduating this year from Boulder.
Wow. I didn't know that they were all, you don't look old enough to have them all like out of the nest already. I was thinking, because what I was doing is in my mind, I always think about the seasons of our life as an entrepreneur. And I'm thinking, whoa, okay, so she's got the residential design firm. She's got the vacation rental design firm. She's starting a summit and a community. And I'm like, wait, does she have any kids in the house still? I'm like, how is she doing this? So they're all self-sufficient adults. So
Yes.
that's why.
I
That's
know.
when we pour it on, right? It's like, okay, let's go.
Empty nest phase of life. Yep, it's the second wave.
That's it.
And I love it.
Exactly. I love it. Yeah, I do too. It's fun, but it is, I really wasn't clear on that. And I'm thinking, whoa, did she start all this before they're all out of the house? Like, that's going to be insane.
No, but I do admire those
So,
young ones that do that. Like Jenna with
I
my
know.
Doma, I watch everything she's doing, and Sarah, and I'm amazed.
Oh, I know. It's crazy. It's crazy what these women are accomplishing, and men that are accomplishing with like little kids. I'm like, no. We built Window Works, but it was different. We wove Window Works into our family life. We specifically ran a brick and mortar business that was 8 minutes from our home, and it was like, it's dinner time. Dad comes home for dinner, mom comes home for dinner, and one of them is probably going to go back out to work after dinner. But that's fine. You know what I mean? Like we worked, and guess what? We own our own company. So if you've got a softball game, we're leaving at 3:30. We're going to go see the game, but yeah, we're going to go back to work afterwards. So it's different than this sort of, and also, I always say, sorry for all you younger people, there was no computers then. When you were out of the building, there was no cell phone. It was like, she's gone. You have a window treatment emergency. Guess what? It'll be handled tomorrow.
Yeah.
It was different, but this type of thing, this type of running a community like you're running a summit like you're running, doing vacation rental design, this requires, a lot of time, and it requires, like meeting people on different time zones and, all of that stuff. And I think it would be challenging to do in a particular season of life that kids were still a priority in your life,
Oh yeah.
So,
and I travel
okay.
a lot for it. So it does make it. It would have been a lot harder. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, I mean, and by the way, like I just interviewed Bria Hamill recently, and she, of course, she travels a lot for her business. And, she was talking about, I can't remember if she said she restricts it to only one trip per month, or she restricts it to like only 2 specific days a week. I don't remember which one it was, but the point is that she's got the boundary built around it. She's got little kids still, like little kids, you know what I mean? And so, but she's got a boundary around it, but she is one of these women that are running these big businesses with e-commerce and design all over the country and all the things. But she is cognizant of the season that she's in. And she is cognizant that you just don't like pick up every single week and you're gone for 4 or 5 days for weeks and months on end and think your kids are going to like, be happy you come home one day. They're going to be like, whatever.
Right.
Right. So, yeah.
With that,
So,
it's hard to have those parameters a little bit, I think, for vacation rental designers, for those ones that are listening, though, because for us, we have these gaps. So an owner or a property manager will call us, and because this is their livelihood. So when we're doing a residential home, nobody's losing money when we ask for your home for 4 days for install or 3 days or whatever. So they're literally taking their property off the book so that we can come in. So we typically install in the gaps. So it's a little harder to be as stringent on our schedule for what we do.
Right. You have to. Yeah, that's interesting. And it's a good caution for those that are thinking about it and maybe are in a period of life, whether it's taking care of your kids or your parents. There's different phases for all of us, right?
Right.
But you're right. You can't say, oh, that's the week we have spring break or whatever. Like I'm going to be with it's like, no. That's the week that we're going to be closed. I need you here installing. Right.
Right.
So, okay. Good warning. So, anything that I left out that we need to talk about on this? I just think I'm so happy for you. And I love the way that you analyze what's happening in your business and you're making the moves and you're bringing in the people that can support you in it and that are opposite your superpowers, that you were saying that you all have your different hats and your different lanes. It's cool, Jess. It's cool. And I'm congratulating you and just high-fiving you. And I'm so thrilled for your success in it.
Thank you. I'm very excited about what I'm seeing as some growth in this community, in this tribe for vacation rental design and designers. And I'm really hoping to keep the conversation growing because I think we still have a lot of work to do with brands acknowledging this category. There's a lot of work to do with logistics, shipping, timelines, things like that. And this sounds terrible, but if Amazon and Wayfair and some of these other places, can figure out how to get product out as quickly as possible, I feel like others can too. And I went to a meeting, and I'm not going to name names, but this brand said, well, how can you use Wayfair? If you really want our attention, then you should just be buying through us. And I held up my phone and I said, your product is on Paragold and Wayfair. So you're asking me to only go through you, but I can go to them and have it in 4 days with free shipping. So I'm not the problem. You are. That's the conversation I want to have. Yes. So
good for you.
I'm working on
Give
that.
them hell, Jess. Give them hell.
I'm trying. I need support. So that's why I have the membership, because if our voice is strong, they will listen.
That's good. You know what? Like, I don't have a horse in the race, right? I don't care who makes money, Wayfair, Paragold. I really don't care, right? But when you say dumb stuff, somebody has to push you back. Like, that's just the thing. If the brand that's actually supplying those, outlets, and those outlets, to your point, can get it to you for the same amount of money in 4 days, and they're going to take X amount of weeks to do it, that's not a good conversation for you, Mr. or Mrs. Brand, to be saying.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, stick to the things. Like, it just, sometimes people, you know me, I love to negotiate. And sometimes I'm just like, this one's just too easy. Like, stop talking, because this is just too easy.
Yeah. I wasn't very popular, but I had a couple secret high fives when I left the room from some other people. But yes.
Yeah. No. Now, people got to think. They got to think. You know what I mean? Like, and that sounds like to me that quote unquote pushback that you got was not contemplated. It's like it was a knee jerk reaction to something that was probably said in the conversation, and they didn't think it through. And that just shows you that they're not prepared. And your call out to the industry to come together on this is going to force those brands to be prepared and to figure out how they're going to service you, or just don't complain. You know what I mean? Like that's, don't complain that you don't get the business if you're not going to make it for me so that I can get the business, bring you the business is what I mean to say.
Yeah.
So
it's changing. We're trying. We're trying.
I love it. I love it. All right. So what's the website so that they can know when it's officially open for registration?
So go to vacationrentaldesign.com or hpxd.com, which is High Point by Design. Join our email list, our subscriber list for all the official information about when we launch. And you can go to vacationrentaldesigners.com if you'd like to join our membership or have any more information about that. And I am just honored to have been able to spend all this time with you today. Thank you. Loved it.
Oh, my goodness. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for being here, Jess. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Okay, so Jessica noticed this missing link between what she needed as a business owner and a vacation rental designer and the resources that were available to her. She recognized this gap in the market, just like Robin Barron advised us to do when she was on the podcast. If you are thinking about or dreaming about a licensing deal, it's the same concept. Is there a need? So Jessica was noticing her coffee chat button, which she explained to us. She put there fully intending that it would be used by potential clients, but she noticed it was actually being used very often by her designer colleagues. Light bulb moment. And what I said to Jessica is true. I admire her for not only seeing the light bulb moment, but for acting on it. You see, that's the key, right? She was already part of a terrific residential design community, which is available to us and through all the ways. But for vacation rental designers, not so much. She was already feeling like she needed better vendors and better resources as a vacation rental designer. And now she was seeing that other gap too, that need for the tribe, so that other vacation rental designers could come together for learning, sharing, and growing. So with these two observations, she took action and she created the Vacation Rental Design Summit. With the help of her fantastic colleagues, Jane Dagme and Erica Surrett, as well as their extended team, they created an experience. Designers of all levels came together for 3 days of education, opportunities to talk to vendors, and much more. So I encourage you, if you are interested in vacation rental design, please go to vacationrentaldesignsummit.com so that you can be on the email list. So when they have some information about the next one coming out in 2024, you are on the first to know list. Okay. You can also check out the membership that Jessica and her partners are offering at vacationrentaldesigners.com. Okay. All of these links will be in the show notes. Now, before I go, we touched tiny, but I want to give you a little bit more information about the insider tour at High Point Market that Jessica does with our other good friend, her good friend, my good friend, Elizabeth Scruggs. Okay. So for those of you who have never been to High Point Market, you don't go. I mean, not if you expect to get anything accomplished without having first partnered up with some kind of a tour or something. If you go with no expectations, if you go and you're just like, hey, if I meet or see one good thing, fine. But if you actually want to get something accomplished, I highly encourage you to look into the insider tour at High Point Market. So if you've never been, it's for you, or if you haven't been in several years, right? So if you join Jessica and Elizabeth's tour, they're going to take you through the market and everything that works for their business, okay? The vendors that they work with, the ones that they have relationships with. Your food, your transportation, the whole schedule is figured out for you. You don't have to think about it. And of course, there are other tours at market. So if you have a specific niche or a specific area of interest, another tour might make more sense for you. But I can tell you, you will likely not have as much fun as you will with Jessica and Elizabeth, because they are incredible women. Okay, this is a terrific service offered by High Point Market Authority. It is completely free, and you register for it through your High Point Market Authority app. All right. So thank you, Jess. I am just so happy and thrilled for you about all the things and all the ways that you are taking your business to new heights. You are an absolute #smart lady. All right. I look forward to seeing the plans for that summit in 2024 and to seeing how you and Jane and Erica and the rest of your team take it to new heights. Congratulations, and I wish you much success on it. And thank you for listening today. I do appreciate, you know that I do, that you show up. It's incredible that we've been doing this together for 7.5 years, and sometimes it feels like 7.5 minutes. Decide to be excellent. Thank you for joining me today. This podcast is a production of LuAnn Nigara, Inc. If you want to know more about me, my books, or LuAnn University, go to LuAnnNigara.com. And if you are interested in having WindowWorks help you with your next window treatment or awning project in the New York, New Jersey metro area, go to WindowWorksNJ.com to learn more. Have an excellent day.